Now, you and I are pretty good in general of stating expectations, especially if something's important. We often have a lot of logistics going on. You are the logistics queen. If I wasn't, if I didn't have you, I'd be kind of walking around in circles in a room going, oh, what flight, what hotel, where do I go, when do I leave? But the thing is that we have an expectation of each other in terms of you kind of run the, I guess, the logistics world for us. You are a master of doing that. And so it's come to be an expectation because number one, you're good at it. Number two, you seem to enjoy it mostly. And I know it's frustrating, but then that is an expectation that I have, and it's no longer stated. Other than sometimes I'll say, can you book me a flight because I got a XYZ? Is that fair?
That's very fair. And also because I enjoy it. I love to know. Maybe it's my control freak, one of my patterns, but I love knowing and being able to plan and help our team know what's going on and
Yeah.
make sure that, and I'm really efficient at it. So the expectation is that if Stephanie can do this, she can handle it. It's easy. She knows all the tricks. I know all the points, things for hotels and flights and all that kind of stuff. So the expectation is there. But you know what's really funny you say that? You know what one of my unexpressed assumption is? And I'm going to expose this on this Mindset
Oh,
Matters
oh,
podcast.
oh, oh. Okay, I'm nervous. Go, go, go.
I know. So I do all that in advance. And then we get to Mexico or we get to Toronto or whatever. I'm thinking you're going to book the dinner reservation
Oh, I'm
or
so
you're going to like make a plan. And
okay.
I forget sometimes to express that expectation that I've
Mm,
done all this stuff up to that and I got us there
yeah,
and I just want to relax and then I want to hand it over to you. But there's times I haven't told you that.
I'm
And
so
then
bad
I've
at
been
that too.
bummed.
You'd think I'd pick up that ball. I'm just so bad at that.
You
Okay,
are,
okay. So
but in
I'm
the cutest way.
publicly apologizing. Okay, let's supersize expectations because this
Okay.
is where things get really I guess complicated. There's family dynamics always, but let's bring it back to business dynamics and how we operate, whether it's with our existing teams, our businesses, our careers, whatever that might be. And that is when we look at how a team works on a project, for example, and the I guess sometimes the complexity of the logistics of any given project, it means that there's a lot of moving parts. And if we as leaders are not being clear with the expectations of any given team member based on their skills, based on what we need them to do, and ultimately what we expect. We have to say you need to do this. Now, that clarity is what brings the I guess all of the sum of the parts, that create the whole together. But there's another side of that is really kind of common in those environments, which is individuals who want to kind of go outside their swim lane. And so, aside from the expectation in the context we've been kind of talking about it, there are boundaries that are also about expectations. So, in other words, don't try and cut my grass. Like in a project, I'm focused and I'm going to go and I'm in the process of doing something. And if all of a sudden, because this is one of the things that you and I have, bumped heads about, is if I'm in the middle of something and then you come in and go, no, I got this, and then you kind of take it, or vice versa. By the way, I'm not kind of calling you out on anything, but it's the fact that there's boundaries that have to be also put in place. Like, no, I've got this. Leave me alone. And that is also an expectation. Anything you want to comment on that?
Oh man, the word boundaries. I think it's super important because many times when I'm dealing with people and setting them up for their intentions, goal setting, etc. I'm working forward, working backwards from an outcome called the Olympic Games or something. Is that if we don't express our boundaries, what I can do, and you know what I can't do, and that's I think what gets
Mm,
missing. It gets missed
good point.
sometimes when it comes to expectations or expressing um, expectations. Is that there's things that if you know you can't do something or you can't fulfill on something, say it earlier than not.
Mm-hmm.
Because what that does is it creates and leads to a level of assumption that you're going to handle it, you got this, it's all good, and then all of a sudden there's
Mm-hmm.
that overwhelm that happens and you're under that whole pile of stuff that you maybe shouldn't have said that you could do. So how do you know when it's time to say, you know what, I can't do this. This is beyond what I can commit to. It's beyond my expectation. It's beyond what I should have said. How do you walk that back?
There's something to be said with all of this. So, why are we talking about expectations? Again, whenever we launch a new program, we go into the process ourselves of, doing the program. Like, we're looking at delivering and seeing and kind of getting a feel for where everybody's at and some of the things that people are operating on top of. They don't even know it. And so, to your point, as coaches and as leaders of teams and business, there's some parts of us that we know what people are capable of. They don't know what they're capable of. So we're going to push them. And we do have an expectation that they're going to have a willingness to take it on. And so, to your point, somebody can say, no, I can't pull this off. You have this expectation of me. I can't do it. And then there's the fine line right there. I have an expectation. If it doesn't go the way we think it should or the way you want it to, got it. Here's my expectation. You try. And I guess, I know that it's perhaps not in your wheelhouse or you believe that it's your skill set, but we don't learn how to do anything. We've talked about this many times. You learn to be a public speaker by public speaking. Then you start to hopefully fine tune and craft. That becomes something that you do. But if I don't have an expectation that you're willing to try, then, if you're saying, no, I'm not willing to try, there you've set a boundary. So there's the differentiation. So a couple of things, if you're listening to this and you have this conversation with yourself in your own mind going, they're always late. They don't do what they say they're going to do. They're not showing up on time. Whatever the story is that you have, they're always dropping the ball. So you're having an expectation conversation with yourself. You're expressing frustration in people not meeting expectations, but goes back to where we started this conversation. Have you expressed that expectation? Mm-hmm. Have you created those boundaries? Really? Or because that's how you operate, that's what you expect from others. And therein lies the challenge. And it's also a breakdown, again, we see in relationships all the time.